Hockey 605, we're here with Dan Hoblick, the voice of the Oahe Capitals hockey program. Welcome to Hockey 605.
Oh, thank you very much. You guys do a great job. It's really nice to see the webcasting out on the website. People will be able to go from anywhere on the internet and find the link and watch these games. It's really great that these kids get the coverage.
Well, and speaking of the coverage, you've been giving the kids great coverage on KCCR for a number of years now, Dan.
About a year and a half now, yes. Came into it, when my boss told me what play-by-play was going to be a part of, what I was going to be a part of, and he said hockey, that was fun. My eyes got real big. It was like being a kid on kind of like on Christmas. So that was really cool. Yeah, and I've done it for a year and a half now. And we try to do as much as we can with the Hawaii Capitals and the Lady Capitals. And even when we're not broadcasting, I'm out at the rink at the Expo Center in Pier and watching them play. It's just a lot of fun.
Well, you're a bit of a rink rat yourself, aren't you? A lover of hockey growing up in Ohio?
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think about 30 minutes from where I grew up, we had an ECHL hockey team, which is one of the farm teams for the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was the Wheeling Nailers. Used to be the Wheeling Thunderbirds. I remember when I went to my first game, they were still the Thunderbirds back in the 90s. But yeah, I spent a lot of time in that rink watching hockey, and of course having the Penguins 45 minutes away, and now really recently the Columbus Blue Jackets. Been able to watch a lot of different hockey, a lot of different levels, and high school hockey really wasn't that big when I was growing up, but now it seems like it's caught fire and it's just gone throughout Ohio, and it's been great.
Well, it's really taken hold here in South Dakota and taken off. And we are very fortunate to be able to provide a video image of the games and have the live feed here. But you've been doing, with the play-by-play, you create a picture with your words, and that's got to be tough to do.
It is tough. It is. You have to really know the game. Hockey is the fastest sport outside of racing, obviously, but fastest sport just on your feet. And you got to be quick. It's a lot of off the top of your head, really. And I've been fortunate enough to be around great people when I was growing up and going through college that have kind of passed down some knowledge to me, what to look for, what to say, how to describe it best, and it's really paid off.
Yeah, well, I know that your listeners have been tweeting out how much they appreciate the great play-by-play you've been doing of hockey this season, of both the girls' varsity tournament last weekend and this tournament this weekend.
Yeah, it's really great. That's all it's all about. It's just for the listeners. I love being here, and I love giving the coverage to the Lady Capitals and the Capitals, and coming to these state tournaments, doing it back at the Expo Center in Fort Pierre. But it's nothing without the listeners. And everybody back in the area that listens. I know that grandparents, moms that are out of state, far away, they tune into our stream, and they really enjoy it. And hanging out with some of the parents last night, they were just tickled to meet me, because they know how much I love the game of hockey and how much I love doing the games for the Capitals, and they say it really shows in my broadcast, and it's really great when you get that back from the listeners.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean. It is nice to get that feedback. What's your worst fear when you get to a venue, a location to broadcast?
That my stuff's not going to work, my equipment's not going to work. Perfect example, last week when we were in Watertown, our phone line, we had some issues with our phone line, and we were scrambling, and it's always good, and it's a good lesson for any broadcaster that you get to the rink early, really early. Our game today is not till 12:30. I got here at 9, just to make sure everything is fine. So that's a lesson I learned in college, and if it wasn't for me getting to that rink last week 2 hours early, I wouldn't have been able to broadcast the Lady Caps game. But yeah, that's my biggest fear. Once I'm into the game, it just kind of goes. It flows. I don't worry about anything, and it's fine then. So I have much more equipment than anything.
Yeah,
so.
Having that internet access.
Yeah, that internet access, that phone line or that cell phone. Yeah, make sure that there's cell reception that you can get out and broadcast. So.
Well, and you also do a great job with the social media on the Twitter account for KCCR. Now, how do you do that when you're giving play-by-play and still give updates on the Twitter account?
Well, I have a good crew of colleagues back in Pierre at KCCR. Last night, our news director Tony Mangan, he takes over the Facebook and the Twitter, and he lets me fully focus on the broadcast in front of me. There's some times where it has to be me, and I'm in my generation, we're all into the iPhones and the Twitters and the Facebook, so I'm very quick with my thumbs on my cell phone and getting it up and really quick. So yeah, and that, that's a big part of it now. nowadays. Radio does come first with us, but the way that everybody is on Twitter and Facebook nowadays, it's just you get that information out as quick as you can, and and then people do enjoy it. I mean, if Twitter and Facebook's our pages have just taken off this weekend because of what we tweet about the Hawaii Capitals.
Well, and then you guys do a great job on your website too of keeping more in-depth stories.
Yeah, yes, we do. Today's KCCR.com has the latest in sports news and weather, and posting sports on that page is like it's a daily thing for me. I mean, well, actually not daily, probably hourly anymore, with everything that's going on, especially in the winter sports season when you're covering 4 different teams or 6 different teams in our area, and just keep constantly posting and making sure that information is out there.
So now, where did you grow up, Dan?
I grew up in a little town that's called Flushing, Ohio. It's in the southern portion of the state, really close to the Pennsylvania and West Virginia border.
Now, when you were growing up, did you see yourself being a play-by-play and a sports announcer for a radio station in the middle of South Dakota?
No, not really. When I was growing up, I really didn't know exactly what I was going to do until my senior year of high school. And I used to announce our basketball games back in our gym. And I picked up the microphone one day, and I was like, wow, this is really something I thought would be fun, and I was going to do. I originally set out, I thought maybe I was going to be take in like what the rest of my family has done, been coal miners or farmers or something like that. But I picked up the microphone one day and started looking into it, and just kind of I got swept into it, and then I ended up going to Bowling Green State University in Ohio, and they have one of the best student-run radio organizations in the country, and gave me the opportunity to broadcast several games, run their organization, go to NCAA tournaments and broadcast there, be a part of hockey where of course Doc Emmerich, he is a alumnus of Bowling Green State University. He came back one weekend when I was there, and he worked with our play-by-play guy for hockey, and got to meet him, and it was just kind of, it's kind of all snowballed. But when they teach us in college about this business, you could always have a suitcase packed, because you never know where you're going to go the next day. That's how this business works, and I accepted the fact that it could take me anywhere if it was Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, or something like that. But yeah, I didn't expect to be in South Dakota, but I did expect it, because that's how this business works.
Yeah. Well, now let's switch hats a little bit here for a moment. You're also the voice of Governor's Sports. You've brought a lot to all the youth sports in the Pierre area, and probably are the first radio station that has done play-by-play of soccer games.
Yes, I'm not exactly sure what happened in the past before I came here. I wouldn't call myself the voice of a Governor of Sports.
We call you that.
Well, yeah, maybe for the soccer team, but yeah, that's been we try to diversify as much play-by-play as we can. I like to think that I cover the most variety of sports in the state when it comes to soccer, hockey, basketball, baseball, football. I'm everywhere. My job is year-round. I know some broadcasters, they go a couple of months in the winter with basketball, or they follow a football team, or maybe they have the summer off. They don't cover baseball as much as I do. I know there's other guys out there that go year-round like I do, and it's constant. It's a constant movement. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Doing soccer. It's a big change. Friday night, a lot of the games are played on Saturday for soccer. Friday night I'm at a football stadium. The next morning I'm doing a show, and then I'm out at Hildress Gulch back in Pierre, and I'm trying to prepare for another sport. So it really does keep your mind fresh.
Yeah, I would think so. So there's probably some players that are going to watch this that might be thinking of going into sports broadcasting. What would be some advice you'd give them?
Oh boy, it is a fast-moving business. Got to keep up with everything. I mean, it's constantly changing, and there's a lot of everything changes. It's so new every day, something fresh, and there's never a dull moment. I mean, it never gets boring. It really doesn't. Advice going in, it's all about networking. Really, I've met a lot of great people, especially when I was in college. Professors, former alumnus that are doing great things. I mentioned Doc Emmerich, met Jason Jackson, who is the TV host of the Miami Heat. Also, Jay Crawford from First Take, ESPN First Take. He was from Bowling Green alumnus, and another Crawford who is currently working at FSN Ohio, I think they've changed it now, Fox Sports Ohio with the Columbus Blue Jackets. So it's all about networking and knowing who you know, and it's kind of how you move into this business, and working hard. Preparation is a big part of it as well.
And I imagine a love of sports would be helpful.
Yes, a love of sports does make it worthwhile, and for me, a loving sports and also the payoff the listener gets out of the whole deal. I'm here to not just for my personal benefit. It's more for coverage for the students that are out on the ice, football field, soccer field, whatever it is, and also the listeners back home that they have a way to tune in and find out what's happening if they want to know.
Well, and they have been tuning in to KCCR.
I hope they have been.
Well, our Twitter followers let us know who they're listening to, and you guys have been doing a great job.
Thank you.
I'm sure they'd love to have you covering a few more than just the Oahe Capitals this weekend.
Oh yeah, they probably would. I would imagine, but I try to make it as fun as possible, as exciting as possible, no matter what the score. Like I know last night wasn't the best outcome for the Caps, but keeping it exciting for 51 minutes. That's the big part of it. You never want to get dull. You don't want to lower your tone. You want to stay on point for the entire game, much like these kids do out on the ice when they're playing. So.
Yeah, I was gonna say with hockey, it doesn't even really matter what the score is. It's always exciting on the ice.
Oh, it's up and down, back and forth. Every second doesn't matter. Like you said, if it's 8-0 or 1-1.
Mm-hmm. Well, Dan, I know there's some games going that we want to catch here. Appreciate you taking some time with us at Hockey 605, and appreciate the help and assistance you've given us at Hockey 605 and getting the word out to our followers as well.
Hey, no problem. You guys do a fantastic job. Soccer 605 is really taking off, and I'm sure this is going to take off as well, Hockey 605.
All right. Thanks again, Dan Hoblick with today's KCCR.
Thanks, Carol.